This is Morten from INKISH TV, and today I have the pleasure of talking to my good friend Bernd from Germany. I met Bernd many years ago, even before INKISH was born. And INKISH has 10 years anniversary next year, so you can see how far back we go. And we're going to talk about something very interesting. But before we do that, Bernd, welcome to INKISH.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. So I think it has been a while since we talked last.
I think the last time we met was actually at the BOPE event last year
exactly.
in Belgium, and that was it was really good. And I know that you use often the BOPE event to be like rehearsing and getting ready for the real German event that is one of the online print symposium, which is like one of the most important conferences in Europe. So that was good to get a little insight before, so you could practice on a smaller audience.
Yeah,
so thank you for that.
So normally I do the speech at OPS, and then we have a BOPE event and several other smaller online print events in the world. But so this year it worked out like this. In 2024 we are going more and more global. So please feel invited to attend the OPS, because we are now switching the complete system, the complete idea from German to English. So that means the lead
more people can come
English,
basically,
and also the translation, simultaneous translation, everything. Because we see that more and more people are coming from all over the world to the OPS, and so we want to be a good host, and so we are switching into this direction. Yeah.
As you know, I have only had the pleasure of being at one of your events, and that was awesome. So I can only recommend people to go to online print symposium events. And if you don't speak German, of course, with English it will become even easier. So fantastic. Yeah. Bernd, the reason why I invited you for this interview is last week you pushed out it is almost a movie. It's a mix of infomercial, information, commercial, a little kind of funny movie to the market on different channels, both in English and German. And the background was quite interesting to that. And before we're going to talk about the content and actually why you did that, or actually maybe you should tell why you did that, because it is because of a relatively serious situation from retail in Germany, right?
Yeah. We have one big issue here in Germany, that of course we are a country of nearly 88 million people, and so advertisement needs to be in every channel. So that means print, that means digital, that means TV, radio, whatever. Yeah? And so one common thing for mainly the older people in Germany, older people like me, for example, so 50 plus. So
I think we're the same age, by the way. So
collecting all these flyers from the supermarkets and comparing, and more we see that the supermarkets are trying to push us in the direction of using an app. So I'm not against the app. I love that stuff, and if there's something digital, I'm the first one probably using that. But now the REWE, that's a quite big, one of the two big players here in Germany for supermarkets. It's a big supermarket chain. They decided they don't print anymore, and that's okay. So everyone is free in his decision. For example, Morten, if you decide I don't do any videos anymore, okay. If you decide I don't do a magazine, it's okay. It's up to you to decide that. But it's always the question how. And they started over to bring out the Greenwashing campaign. That means print is bad, digital is good. And so we are now stepping from print. This costs us millions of tons of water, liters of water. This costs us a lot of money for carbon footprint and stuff like that. We are jumping into the digital world, and that's much better. Yeah? And this is so creepy greenwashing that we decide we have to do something.
We're going to talk about what you actually did in a moment. When a company like this start a campaign where you say that for example, when they claim that the energy cost, the water, all the things that are important to all of us, do you think that it was a decision that was not the communication part of it, but the fact that they chose not to have the printed magazine or the printed brochure anymore? do you think it was a decision based on more economy, that it cost money to do this? Or is it because they have other motivations? Because, I mean, sometimes when you have an app, for example, you can talk about that the ecosystem you build around the customer, the way you can communicate one-to-one, which is like one of the things that you also is an ambassador for. I mean, do you know the motivations for the decision?
Yeah, of course, they explain everyone it's about being more sustainability, using more sustainability. Sustainability is a big topic for them. But at the end, if you see that they're printing out, let's say 22 million flyers every week they printed and brought it to the people and brought it via newspaper, brought it via this and this. So that's very costly, so very expensive. And so I think that's the main decision, to do that in this way. And the reason they started over with a greenwashing campaign, in my opinion, is that they said, okay, come on, we need some arguments for that. We need to explain it to our customers. And, if you look at REWE, and if they're in big cities like Cologne, where nearly every 300 meters one REWE somewhere, it's not a problem. The people are using apps anyway. Yeah. But the biggest problem for me is to see what's with the countryside. What's about with all the people, they don't have a chance to use an app, yeah, because they are too old, yeah, and so it's very complicated.
But sorry to interrupt you, but I also take that what is the reason why you and why we also as an industry need to support your campaign is basically that if people believe that it is not sustainable to print and use print, then it is a landslide basically, because then other retailers, other businesses can think, and if it's done on wrong, let's say foundations and reasons, then it can be a landslide that we cannot control, right?
Yeah, what I'm angry about, and also in Initiative Online Print, because we did that in partnership, so Initiative Online Print and ZipConsult, is that they explain in their TV clip everything what's digital is good and everything what's print is bad. And so we start over as well. I explain that in the video as well. In the I call it commercial, fact commercial. Yeah. So they explain in this video, in their clip, in their TV clip, there's a guy sitting in an old-fashioned living room, old guy looking at flyers, not a young guy, it's an old guy. And then they started over with a young lady coming in, and she needs to put up flyers out of her letterbox anymore, and she's jumped in and has a mobile app and so on. Everything's cool. Yeah? And this is a cool clip, by the way. I liked it, because it's a very dynamic clip. But in the same moment, it teased me a little bit and teased us a little bit, because the facts are wrong. It's not right what they are telling about. It's okay if they say, okay, we save water like this and this. Or vice versa, they don't say what they don't save. Yeah, and this is to me, this is a big issue, because if you're working with digital gizmos like we do here, we can say our carbon footprint is our CO2 emissions are nearly by 2% for all the digital stuff. If we would just use print, it would be by 1%. So that's nearly by half of it. And if we see the power consumption of digital, it's about 5 up to 9%. And if we see the growth rate of digital stuff, it's going more and more by nearly 14% by 2040. And this is a problem. And so what I don't like is the greenwashing campaign. Everyone is free to do advertisement like he wants to do that, but not by blaming someone else. That's not fair.
Yeah. And it's a kind of funny, you think of this for a second. This is not funny, this is serious, of course. But what is kind of funny in the sense is that Germany have probably been the leader in the sustainability agenda, at least in Europe, because you had the packaging delivered back to the retail stores, and that reduced the packaging because the retailers, of course, didn't want to have too much packaging left. You have also, I think that you have a very big percentage of even the household printed and distributed products are on recycled paper. So the industry has already done a lot of things in order to reduce the carbon footprint. You have also, as in Germany, I mean, you have reduced and increased energy from green sources more than probably any other country in the world. So, I mean, both as a country and as an industry, Germans have done a lot of things that are basically not supporting the message that this company comes with, right?
It's not only Germany. Some ideas are from Germany, that's true. Especially the recycling system with paper. So paper is nearly something like a world champion of recycling by 90% recycling rate. And you can use paper up to 10, up to 20 times for recycling. And so that's pretty cool. And there's no other thing in the world we can use so often like paper, because this system is very clever. And it's trained since 20 years now. And all the labels on paper, like the angle and so on. So
Blue Angle and Nordic Eco Label
and FSC and so on. There are a lot of labels. I think that's cool and that's clever and that's absolutely necessary to think in this direction. Also to think into the direction. Sometimes you see that you can print something, especially in online prints, they offer you can print CO2 neutral. That means in the same moment you buy for, let's say, €5, a small token. With that token, they set up new plants, new trees. And with that...
And that is also one of the things you mentioned in the film. But I think it is there's a lot of trees that are planted as part of the, let's say, the green agenda, but also like part of the CO2 offsetting scheme. That is, I saw that Lufthansa, together with but Deutsche Welle Planet, DW Planet, which is a channel I can recommend everybody who wants to be informed on I think actually on a very high level. It's a German but English-speaking channel that is focusing on these things. Spoke specifically about how you can carbon offset in a way that actually works, because there are also scams in this world, unfortunately, when it comes to trees. The claims that you have, was it 300,000 trees a year that is planted in Germany?
Not a year. Nearly daily. Not in Germany, daily? Worldwide. Yeah.
No, worldwide.
So, for example, what do you assume? Is the European forests, are they growing since 2020 or are they not growing? Yes, they grew. And
because you should not ask me, because I actually checked that and it is growing. So
what's the point is, we have all the issues with acid rain, with all the stuff, with pollution. There's a small bug here in Germany, especially in Germany, and it's destroying trees. And so by setting up new trees and new forests, they are looking for new plants and they are resistant against this bug. And so this really helps a little bit. I don't say that print is a green thing. I don't say that. I say that we need to take responsibility about what we urge to our environment, what we do to our environment, and we have to be careful that we give something like a green future to our children. I'm not the guy who's running around all the time and collecting everything, but the system works and we should use that, but not for greenwashing. And
can I ask you a question, Bernd? Because I was curious when what was the name? Was it REWE?
Yeah, REWE
was the company. Yeah. I have seen these with the red one and white letters, right? Yeah. I was thinking, do you think that when one company decide to go this way, do you think that it could actually encourage some of the competitors to do even more print because it could take market share? I think I don't know how much it's a fact, but I believe that when you read something on paper, the impact of learning and information is higher than if you do it on a tablet or on a computer. So I was just wondering, maybe this opened up a new opportunity for even using print more from the competitor side, or how do you see this?
We already have that situation, because 2 years ago, Obi, a big do-it-yourself store, stopped the printing. Or 1 year ago, I think, not 2 years, 1 year ago, they stopped doing advertisement, flyers and stuff like that. And instead of that, they started over with their app. I think that this was something like a test balloon. And for Obi it might work, because if you look at the customers at Obi, they are mainly looking for the cheapest price, for the quickest response. They don't want to run around the market. They want to collect it and buy it and directly in front of it, just take it, grab it, go home. That's what works. For REWE it's different. And I think that other companies, other supermarkets are now looking for their own strategy. Because they see that REWE is not playing the game very well, because there are two brands, Penny and Tom, they also belong to REWE and they are still printing. And if you open up the newspapers nowadays, you see big advertisements from REWE. And so I think they shifted their budget. And this is the point. And that's okay, that's clever. And I would do the same if I would be in the position to save. I need to save money. I need to be more effective in marketing. That's okay, absolutely okay, but not by blaming print. Yeah. And if you look into that, what happened in the social media area, in Instagram and so on, by discussing that thing, a lot of people are blaming on print without having no idea about that, because they carry something to the yellow trash bin. They have to collect this. They have to bring back boxes and so on. And so the people are sometimes very angry. And REWE is using that to say they're typically customers in the big cities. This is the point. How you can save all this crap. Yeah?
So basically, I mean, just to put it 100% clear for the audience, basically, you should always pick the advertising and marketing that works for you. This is only a question about that you should not, it should be based on facts and not lying to the audience about why they're doing it. So if they want to save money, fine. If they say it's because of greenwashing, of course not, fine. The way I know you, Bernd, is that you are one of the most curious persons I know, and as you said, also IT savvy, and you are also very much in the front when it comes to the new technologies, also in the printing industry. If we just put the greenwashing aside just for a second, and also look at retail space in the future, do you think that some of the technologies that you've seen is both like, let's say, direct mail, personalized communication, a combination of let's say apps and print, as you also touch upon in the video? Do you think there's anything where you can say that, okay, here is a great, let's say, not a replacement program, but maybe something that could really support brands and brand building?
Morten, I expect there's something coming up. Yeah, and we see technologies already with augmented reality, where you can use your mobile and scan something and something happens and so on. But this is just playing games. What we need is what we really need are reasonable applications to make our life easier and not to play around. If I go into the supermarket, I want to scan something with a reasonable price, maybe put that into my basket case and go and pay, and that's it. Yeah, for example. And we see technologies like beacon technologies, RFID, NFC, and all the stuff we already know, by the way. And this in combination, for example, with the process of buying something in the supermarket or ordering something in the supermarket, can be in future something holistic. That means it will not be necessary to be in the supermarket. You can do that on your app. It's okay. You can be in the supermarket, but you also can cooperate with your app. That's okay. That's a good, clever idea. Yeah. In the same way, you can get some personalized informations in print, for example, for the higher valued stuff. Yeah. And so I think it depends a little bit about the generation. So crazy guys
and
like
products
us,
maybe
example,
also.
we would try everything. At the end, if we are hungry, we buy it. We don't care.
Yeah, and we are always hungry.
Believe me. And but the point is, if you have to really count your money, and please keep in mind, in Germany, nearly 60% of the people are not rich, and they have to compare, and they also have to compare who has the lowest prices. And in the same moment, I'm just presenting an app. It's not so easy to compare with my competitors. But I expect there's something's coming up, and you can compare that. There are something like Flyer Guru and stuff like that, and they're experimenting a lot into that. But also print will be a part of it, because mass customization is dying more and more. Mass customization is coming up, and mass customization is the main target of that. It's the customer, it's the person, it's the individual.
Wasn't it you, or at some event where I think you were participating, where I think it was in Korea, where you had like the subway, and then it was like you could actually have, it was like a display on the glass while you were waiting for the train, and then you could basically order your goods there, and it would be delivered when you got home. I think it was maybe an online print symposium or so. Does it ring?
That was some years ago. Yeah, there are a lot of technologies like that. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was just thinking, and when I was asking you before, I was just thinking that if you have, I mean, basically, I think that one of the issues in the Western world is that basically we have enough, we don't really need anymore, and therefore there is the market space, the market space for basically pushing product is to keep prices low, a democratization of pricing and availability, still keep an eye on the sustainability agenda, of course. But when I see some of the things that you've been talking about at also the online print symposium, is like, I mean, I saw this young guy that did this online postcard with the stamp where you could basically use your phone, which is a fantastic combination of, let's say, your iPhone or your phone and a printed product. And there's been numerous examples on how online print symposium has been, let's say, the platform for showing some of the latest and newest technologies, combining the advantages of both platforms. And that was in that context I was thinking, because I mean, if we take things over in the metaverse, or if we take things over in the virtual reality world, kind of leave print out of the equation, right? Unless you use it as a driver, of course. But I was just thinking, maybe there was something that came to mind from your side that now here is an idea.
My
right?
postcard is very successful, and this is a typical example for bringing app and print together to produce mass customization. And
what he did was fantastic, right?
We had a guy from Meta, and he did a study together with the GfK here from Germany, from Nuremberg. And so Meta and this institute, they did a research, and they saw, okay, the social media world needs print to be more reliable. And so we presented that on the stage, and I was wondering, because no one from the trade magazines of print were writing about that. So because this is something like a sensation, that a guy from Meta is standing on the stage and talking about that Meta needs print. So, and this is one of the coolest things at the last OPS. We will have someone from Meta next year again, I think, because they're developing more and more in this direction. And also we talked about the metaverse and things like that. And I'm very curious what's going on in that case. But to be honest, can you imagine that someone who grew up with his feet in the last war, by having no food in the 40s and 50s, and now saw that TV is coming up, when internet came up, and so on, and he's overwhelmed by all these technologies. And so it's very important that we don't kick out a part of our society because they are so addicted to digital gizmos. And I see that I was in UK now these days, and I saw that a lot of people are really, they can't use that anymore because it's the entry key is always an app. And
I can tell you as an extension. Yeah, I can tell you as an extension to it is Denmark is supposedly one of the most digitized societies in the world. And I have to almost every week go to visit my 80 years old mom to help her with her banking, communicating with the municipal, paying her bills and things like that, which is like crazy. And I thought that, okay, that is a generational problem. And then my son, older son, he's 18, and when he had to apply for let's say, his driver license and, get registered as an adult, it was evenly complicated for him. And that I realized that, that's also something that I know that you have spent a lot of time on, is that the user interfaces, the user experience, all the things that are still there's so many things if you want to go digital. I totally agree with you when it comes to the generation thing. We cannot just abandon 40% of our population because they are old, right? Yeah. Or too young, basically. And therefore it needs to have those kind of channels. But I also think, and that is what I want to emphasize from my side, is that it is because print sometimes is better. It's not alone, but it is sometimes better for serving something that has longevity, a more tactile experience, all the experiences of things that you cannot do digital. And that was also what I liked about your film, because you have in your film, you have the integration between the electronic platforms and the physical platforms. And I think, as you say, with Meta interested in print, Google is using print. I think that, Apple is a brilliant example of how they use print to really excel in quality and branding and that kind of thing. Because we're running a little bit on the last minute here, I have a little bit maybe critical questions I just want to ask you because I'm curious about it. I actually spoke to Charles Gerald from the BPIF in the UK last week. And one of the things we discussed when we talked about the sustainability is that not everybody, but a lot of people are talking about recycled paper as something that has a sustainability built into it. If you look at the Cradle to Cradle Society, which is like, to some at least the upper level of what you can get when it comes to things like that, because you cannot verify the source of the paper, basically you cannot know what kind of de-inking procedures has been. You cannot know the sources of all the materials that are going into it. Do you think that can be abused by, let's say, in the greenwashing campaigns to push a green agenda without actually being able to verify it?
If I understood you well, I think that we have nearly 5% of all the printing technologies like UV printing, like spot lock, spot varnishing and other things. They are not ready for recycling. As well, we have a lot of stuff with PVC varnishing for carbs marks and stuff like that, or pizza boxes and so on. And so there are a lot of paper not ready for reuse and recycling. But I see that the industry is working on that. And if you see, and the online printers all over the world are a good measure for this, because you can look into their offer and they offer very quickly environmental friendly stuff. Yeah, and they have really an eye on that. If you look at Fly Alarm online printers in Germany, they really offer something that you not only throw away something, you can recycle the paper. And so if I get your question right, I think yes, there are some people taking out these arguments and bring that together into something. Oh, print is not recycled. You can't recycle that in all the case. Yeah? But that's 5%. Let's say 10%. Yeah. But at the end, the industry is also working on that. And if I'm discussing with guys about printing machines and what kind of printing machines they want to use in future, they are always thinking about, we are not using UV because it's not environmental friendly. We are not looking for an HP or whatever. And so everything has two sides. And there is no free lunch, because we have to pay with everything, for everything, and maybe just with our data in an app, or with our trust into paper. But also we have to see that everything's gray. There's no black and white. There was not even any black or white. There is nothing black or white ever. And this means we always have to find the right way to manage that. And in a small country, for example, like Denmark, the digitalization rate is very high. Yeah, and that's cool, because if you look at Norway, for example, it's the same. Yeah, they did a lot into that. They invested into that because it's very important for your environment and economics and so on. If you look into Germany with 88 million people, or a little bit more, you see they still have to invest into a lot of that things. And there are nearly 20 million old people, and you have to educate them. that's not possible. And so I just say everyone has the right to consume media in the channel he wants. And our responsibility as media maker, as producers, is just give them the media channel they want. And that's the reason I'm doing a podcast, I'm doing sometimes a magazine, an event, I do an internet site, I do some videos like that, we do some other stuff. So that's the idea, that we want to offer ideas to everyone, and he can choose the channel. And you do the same. You do videos, we do events and so on. By the way, I have to visit your event in November, but I already mixed it up with something else. I think I have it on my agenda. And
fantastic.
Non-event. You call it non-event, right? Yeah.
The non-event.
And I'm always afraid.
It's about competition this year, Bernd. So it is an interesting topic where we will even have gamers, professional gamers from Counter-Strike, telling us older people how to collaborate in the digital space. So it will be interesting, I think.
Yeah. So Counter-Strike. That's forbidden to me. No.
You will not be able to let it go, or you will.
Yeah, but anyway, so I want to invite you to have a look at the video. It's available in English and in German.
I will link to it in the description here, of course, because I think it's important.
And please share it. Even if I can understand if you are not in Germany, you don't understand the message from on the first sight, but on the second view or maybe the third view, you understand what's the idea behind that.
I think also, even you said that you didn't really want to be one of the main characters in this feature film. I think you and your colleagues did a fantastic job, Bernd. So with that said, I just want to thank you very much for your time here on INKISH, explaining your views and also the campaigning. I think that everybody should share the film. I think it's important messaging that if we as an industry are exposed to greenwashing, it can hurt us more than we deserve. Because, as you said, every decision can be made on a reasonable foundation and with good facts. But if it's based on lies or misinterpretations, not good.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point. So, thank you, Morten, for giving me the time to talk about that. And
of course,
just give me a call if we can talk about something else. Take care.
Let's do that. Take care.
Bye.